Good morning, baseball. It is your boy NMR Sports here, coming back at you with another episode of Good Morning Baseball, joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Franklin P. Helmstetter. Frank, how are we doing today on this lovely, Saturday morning?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Feeling really well rested, ready to talk some ball. Yeah, that's about
Must be
it, man.
nice. Can't relate, man. Can't relate. I'll get some sleep tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, so that'll be nice. Lots of interesting storylines to get into and talk about here today. So before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like down below if you enjoy the content. More daily MLB content every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to leave us a subscription while you're at it. On the road to 2,000 subscribers by the All-Star break. We're getting pretty close, man. We're inching up on 1,800, so pretty close there. So without further ado, let's get into the games yesterday. We'll do a quick little recap around the league speed round here. The Mets beat the Miami Marlins in the first game of the day, 5-3. The Mets take another one there. First loss for Sandy Alcantara in over a month. The Astros beat the Yankees. Didn't choke this one late in the game like they did the other night. 3-1 victory there. What's his name? Kyle Tucker hit a big home run in that one. Giancarlo Stanton also hit an absolute moonshot in this one as well. The Red Sox beat the red-hot Cleveland Guardians. The Red Sox, one of the most underrated teams of baseball right now. They're on fire as well. The Rays squeak out an extra innings victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates in Tampa. The Dodgers and Freddie Freeman's homecoming 4-1 victory over the Braves. Julio Urias gets the W in there. Ian Anderson continues to struggle getting his fourth loss of the season. Washington Nationals barely squeak by the Texas Rangers with a 2-1 victory in Arlington. The A's lose to the Royals in Kansas City. 3-1 victory there. Zach Greinke gets his first win of the season. That's kind of surprising. I feel like he's pitched pretty well to only have one win. The Twins lose a stunner to the Rockies. 1-0, gets shut out by the Rockies. That's actually the first shutout by the Rockies all season, fun fact. I just knew that off the top of my head. Didn't even have that in my notes. The Orioles beat the White Sox again, 4-1 victory there. Blue Jays 9-4 over the Brewers in Milwaukee. Cubs 3-0 shut out the Cardinals with Kyle Hendricks on the mound. He's been having a rough season, but great game today. We all know what happened in this game in Anaheim. 4-3 victory for the Mariners, despite Mike Trout putting up another legendary performance. Tigers 5-1 over the Diamondbacks. Phillies get shut out by the Padres. 1-0 victory for the Padres there. And then the Cincinnati Reds, the 24-46 Cincinnati Reds with a 4-2 victory over the San Francisco Giants. So a lot of games we just talked about here, but let's go ahead and dive into the one that you probably saw in the thumbnail. Freddie Freeman making his homecoming, his return to Atlanta, to the team that cast him aside this offseason. You'd expect maybe a little bit of hostility there, but man, watching Freddie Freeman take that field, it's impossible to watch that video of him taking the field without crying. So my first question for you, Frank, let's be honest with ourselves. You cried, right? Watching that video, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, definitely on the verge, if not crying there. You know, that it was a very wholesome moment, and I like what Atlanta did. Obviously, would be cool if they had extended him an offer. It's pretty obvious that he wanted to be there. I'm liking what Freddie Freeman's doing in LA, but regardless, man, really great moment. Really cool to see the fans kind of rally around. And I did see, this was kind of funny. At first they were like cheering him, and then as soon as like the whole like ceremonious thing happened and he stepped in the box, they started booing him, which I'm sure that he can appreciate that just as much as I did as well. So Atlanta has some good fans, and I liked it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of passionate fans there. And all the fans start coming out of the woodworks after you win a World Series. So definitely the fan base at one of its peaks in the last, probably the last, 20 years, 30 years, haven't been as rocking in that ballpark. And they love themselves some Freddie Freeman. Definitely another big storyline to come out of this game, the Dodgers. Big blow to the bullpen. Feels like they've had a lot of those this season. Daniel Hudson, you would expect him to probably get like an arm injury as a reliever. He tears his ACL in this one. So he is going to be out for an extended period of time, out for the rest of the season and the postseason for sure. My question on this is, we know the Dodgers are very quick to react to things. When Mookie Betts went down, they immediately traded for Trace Thompson, Klay Thompson's brother. It's not a question of if the Dodgers will acquire relief pitching help. How many relievers do you realistically think the Dodgers are going to go after in the trade market this trade season?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say obviously that's a huge blow to the Dodgers pin. Um, ACLs are never fun. I think next to Achilles injuries can be the second longest recovery time, around like 8, 9 months on average post surgery. So really hoping Hudson heals up quick there. Wishing him the best. But at the same time, with the bullpen question, I gotta say at least two. And the reason I say that is just because knowing the Dodgers, knowing their propensity to do so, and also like given the fact that we are hitting almost the halfway point in the season, it might be a good time for them to kind of lock in even more arms because, like you said, this is very traditional of them. But what are you thinking about this one?
Knowing the Dodgers, I can 100%. I think David Bednar is already wearing Dodgers blue. David Bednar, the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think he's in Dodger blue already. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw David Robertson over from the Chicago Cubs there. Daniel Bard from the Rockies. That might be a little bit hard to swing because it's an interdivision trade, but if anyone's going to make it happen, it's the Dodgers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Plenty of good relievers. Plenty of good relievers all around the league, honestly, right now, especially on non-competitive teams. So there's going to be no shortage of arms, and the Dodgers have no shortage of resources, whether the teams want cash considerations or prospects or, maybe trade out a aging major league player, maybe take a salary dump off them as well. The Dodgers will find a way. I say they get at least, I'm going to say three, but not.
Wow.
I say two major arms, two arms that make an impact, and then a third that's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's an extra arm, and then he'll
Makes
turn
sense.
into reliever of the year when he gets to LA.
Yeah, couldn't be the Angels.
Oh, absolutely not. It
No
doesn't
way.
matter who we get. Doesn't matter. We can get prime Mariano Rivera, bro. He's gonna have a 6 ERA in our bullpen.
Exactly.
Speaking of the Angels, I promise we'll talk about teams that aren't on the West Coast eventually. But Mike Trout, man. Mike Trout owns the Seattle Mariners franchise. 6 games against them this season, 6 home runs in those. He also hit a scorched triple over the head of top prospect Julio Rodriguez. Mike Trout was just all over the Mariners tonight. They intentionally walked him with nobody on base in the bottom of the 8th inning to pitch to Shohei Ohtani. It did end up working out in their favor because they won 4-3. Man, dude, the Angels just enlighten me for a second.
Another unique way, just once again.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, and there's parts of this game that let's stick to Mike Trout for a second. I'll say obviously he's incredible, man. There's not much more to say about it. But it is frustrating to see, this team that can't really manage to scrummage up wins even when he performs so well. And I love his loyalty to this team, but do you think that this really does frustrate him, or do you think he's just just another day? What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Because
I think it's
I gotta
like
think
going.
that this frustrates him.
I think it's like going for a round of golf for him. I think he goes out and he's like, oh yeah, I hit 2 home runs today, racked up a couple RBIs, goes back to his absolutely massive mansion in the Anaheim Hills to hang out with his wife and his, young son, play some, hops on his PC and plays some Warzone. He's living the life, man. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of that way. I'm built that way too. I love to relax. I love to, chill. I don't if you're on a losing team, it doesn't really matter. I don't think he has the drive. I don't think he cares enough to, request a trade or anything. I don't think losing bothers him that much. I'll be completely honest with you. And that's fine. He's still a great baseball player, but I really don't think losing bothers him at all.
Yeah, because at this point, if it did, I think we would know, right? If it bothered him. So
I don't know if he's just numb to it or what.
Yeah, but in terms of this game, really fast, man, we got to talk about this. It was pretty frustrating to see, but I feel like we just get so screwed over. And again, a lot of this is our fault. I'm not saying we would have won this game regardless, but we get so screwed over on these replays. Don't you agree?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't watch enough of specific teams to get a feel for other teams that get screwed like we do. But if you guys missed it, Jared Walsh, man, gets absolutely nailed. Not nailed, very scary moment. Comes up near his face, the baseball. It definitely tipped off the brim of his helmet. I'm not gonna say it, knocked his helmet off, but he, in the Matrix Neo kind of thing, the ball like skims the tip of his helmet. You can hear it make a sound in the video, and if all the replays that we were shown, there is no space between the ball and the helmet. No space whatsoever. And the ruling on the field was a hit by pitch. Sent it to New York. New York somehow, by the grace, just magically appears. Oh yeah, that definitely didn't hit him. We have clear and convincing evidence that we can overturn this play. Guarantee you, if it, I don't know. I'm sure there's other teams that this happens to, but it is so frustrating when it happens to your team, man. Like if it's the other way around, it wouldn't have been overturned.
Yeah, I think what's frustrating about this is that, like, again, the rule is you have to have clear and convincing evidence. So I wouldn't have been that upset if they had said it didn't hit him. We challenge it, and then, it still didn't.
And they don't
hit him.
overturn it. Yeah.
But but for them to literally like overturn it when there is no evidence for that, I would argue that it's pretty ridiculous to even consider that was enough evidence, considering it literally did hit his helmet. But
well, then he strikes out on the next pitch. So they literally got a free strikeout for hitting him in the head.
Yeah. I mean, again, this problem is that's just a little salt in the wound. I mean, this problem extends beyond, like, who knows what would have happened if Walsh had gotten on base there, but it's definitely not like a guaranteed bona fide like win or anything. So still a frustrating performance for sure by the Angels, but that's definitely adds to it for sure.
Yeah, I agree. All right, enough about the Angels. We've got other stuff to talk about. Former top prospect Mark Appel just literally announced like very, very shortly ago. We're recording this at about 2 a.m. the night before, and I think it was announced like an hour ago. Mark Appel getting the call up to the Philadelphia Phillies roster. Former #1 overall pick by the Houston Astros in 2013, was a top prospect with them, never panned out, and then retired in 2018, never made his major league debut. But he's back with the Philadelphia Phillies system. He's their #4 prospect currently. Not saying a whole lot outside of their top prospects. The Phillies don't really have that deep of a farm system. But Mark Appel's been tearing it up in the minors. If he makes his MLB debut and, can solidify himself as a solid relief pitcher, or maybe even, a decent starter, is he still one of the biggest draft busts of all time?
I would say so, and I'm looking at his baseball reference here, and I mean, it's sad because this looks like, his age 19 years, he's in college, 2013, then he's in the major league organizations, and it just looks like a Cheesecake Factory menu, like just so many different transactions all down. It's like it's a humongous list of things that have gone on. So it sucks to see him have to bounce around so much, but it is exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong that he's getting his shot to potentially pitch in the bigs. But, he is entering his age 30 season. So, I mean, he could provide some value to the team. And we'll just have to see. But I would say this is definitely one of the biggest busts I've seen. I mean, he spent a solid, 9-10 years kind of just bouncing around when he was supposed to be this big phenom. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, when I think of massive draft busts, I think Matt Moore. Yeah, Matt Moore, one of the biggest. He's on that kind of tier with me, but good for him making it back. We love a good comeback story. I hope he pitches well. He was definitely pitching well in the minors, so hats off to Mark Appel, man, making it up to the show for the first time. Good for him.
Yeah.
Now, also in this Phillies, having to do with the Phillies starting pitcher Aaron Nola got the start. As some of you may know, his brother, Austin Nola, is a catcher for the San Diego Padres. Well, they faced off today in the 6th inning, and Austin Nola hit an RBI single off of him that would end up being the only run scored in this game. So he handed his brother an L on a silver platter. My question is, man, there's a couple of these tandems of brothers in the league, and some of them are pretty good, man. Tyler, Taylor Rogers, William and Wilson Contreras. What is your favorite, or what is the best tandem of brothers in Major League Baseball right now? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I was watching that game. Really cool to see. I love seeing the parents up there with their double jerseys on, trying their best to support both players. I think that's awesome. But in terms of the best duo, I think I'm gonna go with the Contreras brothers. I think they're both just absolute studs, especially William Contreras, who I definitely have been sleeping on. But looking at some of these numbers, man, he's pretty
He's
incredible.
an
So
all-star. He's got to be.
yeah, I mean they could very well both be all stars this year. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pick. I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah. I mean, if Bryce Harper wasn't a DH right now, I would say William Contreras would be starting at DH. He's been that good this season, so I
Yeah.
tend to agree. But no disrespect. I think Aaron Nola's a fantastic starting pitcher. I think Austin Nola kind of brings the brother tandem down, but he did get the best of him in this situation. So always fun to see, man. I love these family matchups. They're so much fun. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Sticking in the NL West, we've got the San Francisco Giants losing to the Cincinnati Reds. We already talked about how the Reds, 24 and 40 something. Uh, this is a bad loss for the Giants. I mean, it's obviously just one ball game. You got to wash it out. Can't be reliving these terrible losses over and over again. But are you starting to get worried about the Giants? This is a team I honestly thought had a chance to win the NL West again this year, but clearly they're not playing as good as they were last year. What do you think? Give me a percentage what you think they'll make the playoffs.
Um, Number in my head is like 35, 40%. I say that because I mean they're a half game back from a wild card spot currently. But then again, on the other hand, like you said, they are definitely lackluster. I think compared to how a lot of people thought they were going to be. We've got the Padres and Dodgers ahead of them in the division. The last 10 games they've gone 4-6 and they've lost 3 in a row. So especially to see that from a loss in Cincinnati, it's pretty bad, I think. So it's not looking great, but at the same time, teams can turn it around. So I definitely by no means think that they are out of the equation yet. But it's definitely me leaning towards maybe we'll see a postseason without him, as much as we thought we'd have him in there. But we're gonna have to
It's
see, man. It's
tough.
pretty close.
I mean, when you think about it, I assume the Dodgers are going to win the division, but you never know. Between the Dodgers, Padres, Mets, Braves, Giants, I'm trying to think. Let me do some math here. Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing
Cardinals,
someone.
Brewers.
Cardinals and Brewers. One of those teams isn't going to make the playoffs, so or maybe 2 of those teams. My math's kind of off, but it's late. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough road. National League's definitely gonna be a dogfight for that last playoff spot. Where I feel like
Absolutely.
the AL East is kind of dominating in the American League right now. So
Hmm.
we do have one last thing to talk about before we get out of here today, and that is the Mets and Marlins game. As I mentioned in the intro, Sandy Alcantara, first loss for him since May 6th. May 6th, that is dominant. Sandy Alcantara, he's been throwing the most innings. He's been throwing the most pitches every game. He's been a dominant strikeout pitcher. He was my pick to win the Cy Young Award before the season. So tell me, Frank, do you consider him the favorite to win the NL Cy Young Award right now, especially with some big names on the injured list right now?
Yeah. So I think I've kind of been comparing him with Corbin Burns, and I think really between those two guys is where I'm leaning. Yeah, on one hand, Alcantara is pitching on a team that is not quite as high up in value or skill set as the Brewers are at the moment. So and he's holding a 1.72 ERA, which ERA is not everything, but that's damn impressive for sure. And to not have a loss on a team like the Marlins for a month is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
impressive as well. But on the same the same side, I think I'm seeing Burns has a slightly higher ERA, but he in less innings pitched, I believe he has more strikeouts, less hits given up. So they're pretty damn close. So I mean, I'm leaning towards Burns just for the sake of those stats, but I've been really impressed with Alcantara. So this is like kind of a toss up for me. I honestly would appreciate your insight here. I'm not really sure where to lean. So.
Well, it all comes down to what you value most in the pitcher and what is the pitcher's number one job? It's to get outs. And Sandy Alcantara, this man gets outs. He gets a ton of strikeouts, which is nice. 8.15 strikeouts per 9. Not the best in baseball. It's nowhere near Corbin Burns' 11.56 strikeouts per 9. But he gets outs, man. 99 and a third innings pitched. No other pitcher has over 90 innings pitched this season. That is just elite. Whenever he goes out there, you could expect, first of all, it's a day off for the bullpen. Maybe your closer has to pitch, which is a very good thing in Miami because their bullpen is looking very rough this season. So Sandy Alcantara, man, 7 to 8 innings pitched every start, if not a complete game. he's been very vocal about, I'm cool with throwing 140 pitches a game if you want me to. He doesn't want to get taken out of games. He's also like 8 feet tall and like built like Giancarlo Stanton almost. So he's got the muscle. He's a freak of nature. He throws hard. For my money, I mean, I'm going to be biased because I picked him at the beginning of the season, but I personally think he is the Cy Young right now. I do think the baseball writers might disagree with me, just like they gave it to Burns over Wheeler last year, even though Wheeler had the significant higher number of innings pitched.
Yeah. Well, man, you're doing a good job of convincing me. And I think, you know, in terms of value for a team, too, I think Alcantara takes the cake there because, you know, again, that bullpen, not having to rely on them is huge considering their, you know, lack of a bullpen there. Whereas, like, the Brewers have one of the better bullpens in baseball. So, you know, just that sheer value and the ability to get wins and, like you said, strike people out, get people out. So I'm definitely leaning towards that, but it, you know, I don't know, 60-40, right? I don't know. So, but they're both great pitchers. We'll have to see, man. It'll be exciting.
No, it's definitely. I feel like they're the two clear front runners right now. There's definitely some other guys who are good out there. You know, Max Fried, Aaron Nola's having a great year. Who else? Logan Webb, Joe Musgrove is definitely in the conversation for sure. So it'll be a fun one. But Sandy Alcantara, man, built different. Absolutely built different. Leads the league in dogging him. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Awesome,
I believe that is going to do it for us today here at Good Morning Baseball. Thanks again so much for watching, everybody. Like I said at the beginning, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoy daily MLB content. We post these every morning at 9 a.m. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well and turn on post notifications to be notified when you wake up and you have a nice, fresh episode of Good Morning Baseball to enjoy with your morning cup of coffee. Be sure to hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the topics we discussed in today's video, and we will see you guys all in the next one. You have a great rest of your day.